Hey, and welcome to another amazing and great day today. I wish you all the best, and I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping well. I hope that you're motivated and educated today, and today is going to be an awesome and an amazing show. Today we're talking part of the family and relationship series. We're looking at the topic: can I trust my partner 100%? It's a simple question. If you're watching and you're cringing in your chair and you're thinking, oh my God, this one is a bit too sensitive for me. How am I going to do this? What is my partner going to think about my comments? That's the whole point. The whole point of today's show is to challenge you and to ask you that question. Can I really trust my partner 100%? Should I trust him 100%? Should I tell him everything about me? Should I open up 100%? Should I just be real? Should I just be constantly, whenever he asks me a question, I gotta be 100% honest all the time? No hidden agendas, no motives, no hidden motives, or I'm doing something behind his back. And the question we want to also talk about today is, how can this trust be built? Yes, we'll have all this conversation, but remember, our show is all about education. It's about educating you so that you have enough information. So you have enough information and awareness to be able to deal with challenges. So whatever challenge you face, whatever circumstance you may face at any time, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, you have the ability, the capacity to be able to get through those challenges. Because we understand that trust in a relationship is a big challenge. It's a big challenge for some couples who live together and they just don't trust each other. And some people just don't know how to communicate that trust for one another. So these are the things we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so we've got 6 amazing guests today. We've got Tania, we've got Claire, we've got Jojo, we've got Agnes, we've got Aderonke, and we've got Chris Adeoye. So we're going to go straight in. We're going to start talking because we've got a fantastic 1 hour. So get ready. Tighten up your seatbelt. Get ready for the journey. Get your seatbelt all ready and fastened up. And let's start shooting. You know, it's going to be one amazing day. So, and at the end, we always educate ourselves and we always learn for what we have said. So that's the whole essence of today. We're going to learn. We're going to push ourselves. We're going to get better. Hi, Tania. You're live on air. How are you? Hello. Let's try that again. I think the signal there was a bit not connecting. I'll just try that one more time. And sometimes we get signal failures, but we should be good. We'll try it again. Here we go. That's better.
Hello.
Hi, Tania. How are you? You're live on there. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Ronnie. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am always buzzing, excited about today's topic.
That's good. That's good. Brilliant. Bring it on.
Oh, there we go. Before we start to talk about it, just tell our audience a bit about yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Tania. I live in Glasgow. I'm currently at home. Basically, I worked for the NHS as a bank staff member, got laid off, and basically I'm at home looking after my daughter and basically working on different projects like the one that you've just proposed for today. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, my dear. You're welcome. Don't worry. At the end of all these, you'll be back at work and busy again. It's just
absolutely. I've been getting quite a lot of opportunities sent my way. So watch this space. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go. There you go. So let's talk about this. I mean, can you really trust your partner 100%?
That's an interesting topic. Very interesting topic. Well, I've been doing a wee bit of research on this, and it's quite a tricky one. First of all, I think we have to kind of establish, first of all, what is trust? That's the way forward. Basically, trust is a set of behaviors such as acting in ways that depend on another. Trust is also a belief in a probability that a person will behave in certain ways. So basically, it's an ongoing interactive relationship. So it's about behavior and other people's perspectives taken into consideration. Mm-hmm. So once we establish that, we then look at by having faith in your partner, meaning you believe they will do right by you, by doing right, we consider this to be a strong indicator of a trusting relationship. So basically, to start off with, we need to know that all relationships are built on trust. By trusting someone means you think that they're reliable, that basically you have confidence in them. You feel safe, in other words. So without trust, we have no stability. Basically, without trust, you've got no future. Now, the next step is quite interesting, Ronnie. How do we trust? To trust, basically, we've got to find a common ground with our partner. You've got to remember the role of respect for each other. So basically, it's a two-way street, not a one-way street. A lot of people forget about that. They say, oh, but I don't trust you. Well, basically, does he trust you? It's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. You're also got to set boundaries. For example, I need my time. I need my space. All that's very important. In relationships, communicating openly as well. So it's fine for someone to say, I don't trust so-and-so and I don't trust blah, blah, blah. But trust is not something that you can achieve overnight. It's built in a relationship over time. It could take years, you know. Well, that's my view on it.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you can you see us live? I'm just making sure that we're connected. So you can see us live, yeah?
I can see you, yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, is it really? So, based on from what you just said, you talked about having a common ground, understanding each other. So, if we were to, so basically, relationships that don't succeed, that means the relationship that break up. Maybe one partner becomes unfaithful, or the other one goes and has lives a separate life. Are you saying that there's no trust in that kind of relationship, or is one-sided?
No, I think in any relationship, people get bored and some stray, and you know, there's going to be different things like that happening in long-term relationships. But I think if you've got that commitment and you've got that long-time bond with someone, there's no need for them to be doing things like that. I think relationships, what you put in is what you get out. That's what I believe in. For example, I've been in two long-term, very long relationships. I'm talking about like 9 years, blah, blah, blah. And I do believe that if you don't share common ground, if you don't have things in common, for example, we like acting, we like theatre, we like that kind of stuff. You've got to find that common ground in a partner. And if you don't have that, the other person will lose interest. So as much as you're in a relationship trying to keep these things going, you've got to keep the interest. You've got to make that effort with each other. And if you don't make that effort, one of you is going to lose interest. So it's fine safeguarding yourself, but to a certain extent with things. I mean, I've seen partners going on social media, checking who their partners are speaking to, asking for passwords, and going into their Facebook.
But that shows that there's not that 100% trust, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now, what I would say is, human beings with behavior, you get that gut feeling when something's not right. 95% of that instinct, that gut instinct that you are getting, that's your body telling you that something's not right. Now, is it always correct? No. You've got to know facts before you can point a finger. That's very important. But you yourself should be aware of what type of relationship you're in. You will know that by a person's behavior. If your partner has what's a smooth kind of behavior, when I say smooth, you've got a relaxed behavior, then you shouldn't have to worry about anything. But then I think we've also got to reflect back and look at how we treating the other person too. So this is why I highlight that it's a very important two-way street. That's what I'm gonna call it.
I love that.
It's you can't point at one person. What you put in is definitely what you're gonna get back out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've opened the floodgates, and we're gonna crack on.
Thanks, Ronnie. You take
amazing.
care. Thanks for having me on board.
No worries, darling. Have a good one.
Take care, Andrew. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we've got the ball rolling. We're talking about trust in a relationship. We're asking the question: can this trust be built, or can we grow on this trust? Why? How should couples even have this conversation? Should they be talking about trust in their relationship? Hello, Claire. How are you? You live on air?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm always buzzing, always amazing, always exciting.
Yeah, me too.
All right, please tell our listeners a little bit about you before we can crack on. Sorry, I'll just take this off. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So my name's Claire. I'm a transformational coach, an energy healer, mum of 2 teenage boys, and I've recently set up the Home Education Hub to support parents who are educating their children at home during lockdown, when otherwise normally they would have been at school. So that's bringing up all sorts of issues, obviously, in families and at home, and work-life balance and relationships and all these amazing things that you're talking about, actually, is all kind of coming to the fore now, isn't it? So
yes.
yeah, I'm kind of helping people through that to navigate all of those different things.
Amazing. Well done. Okay, so you're on the hot seat now. So we're talking about trust, and we're asking the questions: can couples in relationship, can they trust each other 100%? Should they?
Yeah. Wow. What a loaded question.
I'm playing devil's advocate today, you see.
Yeah, like when I read that, I was thinking, do you know what? Obviously most people would say, yeah, you know what, 100%, you've got to be able to trust each other for a relationship to thrive, right? Relationships are built on trust, right? That's the normal kind of response. And that's where I was kind of thinking I was going. And I was thinking, do you know what, though? Why I do feel somehow that trust needs to be earned, a bit like respect, right? And I think that a more interesting question, if you would allow me to just turn it on its slightly, right, is why would someone lie? Why would someone lie? Right? Because obviously the opposite to trust is telling lies is something that erodes the trust, right? So now the reason that I say this is because I have been in a relationship with somebody who turned out to be a pathological liar, right? And yet I trusted him 100% until obviously the lies kind of unraveled everything. I was like, oh my God. So he ended up going for counseling for that and everything. Now, but what is interesting about this is, why would somebody lie? And what's come out of this is, often pathological liars want to be trusted, right? But they end up lying because they tell lies to cover up lies. And the reason that they've told the first big lie, if you want, in the first place, is actually a form of self-protection. So I'd like to think about, okay, if people are lying to protect themselves, what are they protecting themselves from? Right?
Yes, I'm good. I'm loving this. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you think of a time where you've told either a white lie or a big lie, right? And everyone has. Even if people are saying, "Oh no, I never have," well, that's a lie, right? You have. So the thing is, what are we protecting ourselves from when we lie? Now, if you think about the human condition generally, the key things that we protect ourselves from, the reason that fear comes up in our lives, the thing that we protect ourselves from, I think, when you dig deep and you peel away all the layers, like of the onion, is to do with rejection. Right? We lie because we're afraid that if we tell the truth, we're going to be rejected. Ultimately, that's what we're afraid of. We might cover it up with all sorts of things first, but if you dig deep, that's what it is. It's a fear of rejection. So why is a fear of rejection such a powerful force that it would make us lie, when we know that trust and telling the truth is a value that most people hold highly, right?
Yeah.
So the rejection is because, if you think back to the dawn of time, when we were in cavemen and women, if you were rejected and you were sent out of your tribe, that would ultimately mean death. You wouldn't survive on your own, right? You'd be eaten by the tiger, or you'd be caught by the other fighting tribe next door, or whatever it was, right? On your own, you wouldn't survive. Now, in this world, of course, it's much easier to survive on your own, but ultimately we are wired for survival, which is why this coronavirus is throwing up so many things right now. And our ultimate survival instinct is about being accepted in a tribe rather than being rejected and pushed outside a tribe, right? And this is why people lie. Which is why it's so difficult to answer your question, because actually what we're doing is we're going right down into our human core, into our absolute kind of very basic instincts of wanting to be accepted. And that need to be accepted and to be part of the tribe overrides the fear of the rejection. And so we have to tell the lie, because it's too painful to tell the truth and be rejected.
It's the need for the exception that makes people lie, to create lies, to consistently make the other partner to accept them. And the more they create that lies, the more they feel accepted by their spouse.
Exactly. Except, of course, this is a bit of a trick of the ego, because if you're with a partner who values truth and integrity as one of their top values, when they find out you're lying, potentially you're going to be rejected anyway.
Exactly. So
because they say, but why did you lie? I would have understood if you told me the truth, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where this dilemma, this is why it's a dichotomy. This is why it's so difficult to answer that question, because it depends which part of your brain is functioning at the time when you're making the lie, right? Because if you're in fight, flight, freeze mode, if you're flooded with cortisol, if you're literally put on the spot, right? Yes. Which often we are as children. Yes. Who did that? Did you do that? Did you break that? Like, whoa. Okay, you're like put on the spot and you have to come up with a response. And also, if you've lived and been brought up with narcissistic parents, you know that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It doesn't matter if you tell the truth, you're still going to get the whack, right? Okay, so actually, you learn these behaviors of survival.
Yeah. So the question I was going to chip in a quick question. You mentioned something. You said, why did you lie? I would have understood. Would they really have understood when spouses, because spouses feel, if I really tell her this issue, if I really tell her this thing that's bothering me or this thing that I've done, she might reject me, she might not understand, it might just break us up, it might blah, blah, blah.
That's what my partner was afraid of when he was going through these pathological lying sequences. That's right. That's what he was afraid of. And even though he knows, I'm a lovely person, I'm a compassionate person, I'm an intelligent person, like I can get it, we can talk round stuff. Even then, his fear of falling short and being rejected was too great to take the risk to tell the truth. Until he's gone through counselling now, he's gone through a lot of counselling, done a lot of work. To uncover the root of all these things. And actually it does go back to childhood. It does go back to him as a young child, not, even though he told the truth, of not being listened to by his mum. He told the truth and she chose to believe his sister. So he grew up believing that the truth didn't count for anything. That even if you tell the truth, you're not heard.
Yeah. So just to round up quickly, so would you say it is best to tell the truth immediately the incident or the issue arises?
I think it depends where you're at on your personal journey, right? I personally believe that once we have the truth, once we're faced with the truth in front of us, it's something to like put all your cards on the table. Let's work through this together. It's something to work with. But a bit like I said last week, you know, if with the whole money thing, if you're in a narcissistic relationship, sometimes telling the truth can get you beaten. Sometimes telling the truth will get you killed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say hands on heart is 100%. Yeah, always tell the truth, because you need to know who you're telling the truth to, right?
God.
What the consequence is going to be. It's not that black and white.
That's true. That's true. This is very sensitive. It's a very, very dicey discussion. I think it needs a lot of reasoning and a lot of balancing based on the relationship and the understanding of how you're relating with your partner.
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. And also the other thing to just leave you with is, of course, don't expect of others what you won't do yourself. Like if you're advocating truth, if you're this big truth teller, like I love it when people tell the truth. I want the truth. And then somebody says, hey, how do I look in this? And inside you're thinking, well, you look like, you know, an absolute mess. And you're saying, yeah, you look great. Well, don't expect other people to tell you the truth then.
You're right.
So are you actually modeling the behavior you're expecting of others?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claire. It's always fantastic talking to you, and I look forward to speaking with you all through the series. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, dear. Take care. Good luck with your projects.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ooh, this is brilliant. So those of you out there who are with your partners and you've got this big secret in your heart and you're leaving this big lie, you know, and then there's this heavy thing on your chest that you just can't get out, and you're scared that you won't be accepted anymore if you say it. One thing I always say is the truth would always out. No matter how long you try to hold it in, it would always out. So you got to make up your mind. Am I going to talk about this now? Am I just going to hold it in for the next donkey years? And when I'm 70, we talk about it, but then it'll be too late. You know, so we just have to understand our relationship and learn to build. Now we're talking with Jojo. We'll give Jojo a call and our next guest, and then we'll take it.
Hello.
Hi, Jojo. How are you? You live on air. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I am buzzing, amazing, getting excited about all the discussions.
That's good.
Great stuff. Please tell our listeners and audience about you first before we go into the topic, please.
Okay. My name is Josephine. I'm married with 3 kids. Been married for 14 years now. Been together for 15.
Wow.
And I'm also CEO of Ethnic Wears, design clothes for our kids, especially for kids using African fabric.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well done. And congratulations on your success in your fashion brand. And I hope you keep it up.
Thank you.
The world is waiting for you, you see.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the topic today. Should we trust our partners? Can you trust your partner 100%? Where do you stand? I mean, what's your take on this?
When I saw the topic for today, I was like, wow, this is a very, very broad area.
Okay.
It's a very, very broad area. In a perfect world, right, I would say yes. You should trust your partner 100%. But we know we are not living in a perfect world, are we? And then the question, should you trust your partner 100%? You're not really specific. In what area? You know, is it about your partner cheating on you? Is it about finances? Is it about trusting your partner to take care of you? If, for instance, you are not able to take care of anybody, you're in an accident and then you have to be home crippled or something. What area? But if you are just saying, should you trust your partner 100%? Becomes a little bit difficult because you can trust your partner 100% in one aspect and not trust your partner 100% in the other aspect. For example, you can trust your partner to be a great father, and you know if you leave this earth and your partner is still alive, you know your partner will take care of your kids very well, and they will make them your priority. You can trust your partner in that way, and maybe in some cases you may not be able to trust your partner regarding cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if I want to say I'm an African, a Nigerian specifically, a lot of our women go into marriage or a relationship knowing that their partner cheats on them. And they think, where we are from, and they think or assume that is how men are, so they accept it. So in that situation, how will you advise such a person? So it becomes difficult. While that man may cheat and the woman accepts it, she may trust the partner regarding every other aspect of her life. You get where I'm coming from?
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but personally, because you also asked about mine personally. Personally, I believe you should trust your partner 100%. But I was listening to the other speaker before me, and she made some really interesting points about why people lie.
Yeah.
You see, your partner may be really, really trustworthy, but in order not to be rejected concerning maybe a mistake or maybe something they may not be proud of, they lie to, they lie in order not to be rejected. They lie to cover that mistake up.
Correct.
Not really because they are not trustworthy, in quotes, but just because they want to cover that mistake. So that is why when you say, should you trust your partner 100%, it becomes a bit tricky. Yeah, it becomes a bit tricky.
But it's supposed to be no hold bars. It's supposed to be trust across all areas, no matter the area.
That is why I started in a perfect world. It should be 100%. But it's not a perfect world. Because sometimes you may be in a situation where you will not believe at how you acted. Sometimes you don't even know yourself fully until you are placed in a situation where you will not believe in a million years you will act the way you acted.
You're
referring
to
when you are
like
ashamed
a
of your
reaction,
act?
you mean?
Sorry?
You're referring like, for example, if I get myself engaged in something that I feel ashamed about, that I don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
But is that not the whole essence of trust?
Of man.
But that's the essence of having that trusting relationship, whereby even if you find yourself in a predicament, even if you find yourself that, I just failed, man, I just cheated on my wife, and I really need to tell her. But I know if I tell her, it might break our relationship up. I mean, so what does the person do? Keep quiet and just lie over it, or what? That's what we're getting to here.
When it comes to cheating, no, you shouldn't. But just like the previous speaker said, people lie to protect themselves.
You shouldn't cheat, or you shouldn't say it?
You shouldn't cheat.
Okay.
Period. You shouldn't cheat. Period.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, you shouldn't cheat. Period. If it's that, you shouldn't cheat. Period. But if you do, you should say it. You should tell your partner.
Really?
Of course.
Okay, how's that going?
Otherwise, the kids will kill you.
How's that going to work?
Don't you think so?
I like to play devil's advocate, because some people will be watching you and are thinking, right, I'll cheat and I'll go and tell my wife I just cheated. Yeah, she will kick me out the door.
I can't speak for other people. I cannot speak. That's why you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation in the first place.
Correct.
That's why you should not put yourself in that situation in the first place. You know you're married. You know you have someone that you are with, that you have told yourself you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Then and you are a man, you should know when that situation is about to come. I know a lot of men pretend as if they are not aware. When they see girls coming on to them, they know. They know this thing.
True.
And if you are disciplined, you should know that you should take yourself out of that situation. But if that happens, you should tell your wife that she'll be living a lie.
You know what? We're just rounding up now, but I'm going to have another episode to talk about this, cheating in relationship and how to communicate that to your partner. And I think you'll be my first guest, so that you can...
I have very, very strong views about that. I don't know if you...
I love that. Our viewers would love to hear that too. Thank you so much, Jojo. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
And you too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that's heating up. We started with talking about trust. Then we started talking about feeling insecure and for the rejection. And then now we're talking about relationship and cheating. So the trust is moving from one end to the other, and it's going from one particular dimension to the other. So the trust is spreading across. So next we're going to call Agnes, and then we're going to talk about the same topic. Should we trust one another? Should we be open in our relationship and say, listen, I just had an affair yesterday, and I have to tell you, I've had this £60,000 in my account all this while. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. You just found the bank statement. All these are elements of trust. Should we be having these conversations with our partners, or should we just try to bottle it in because we're afraid of rejection? What should we do? That's the cocoa of this conversation today. What should we do? Come on. Hello, Agnes. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Ronnie. How are you?
I am buzzing. I am getting excited. The whole topic
Me too. Can you believe I've actually had a discussion with my husband
my
about
God.
this topic, and it is one of our favorite topics for our relationship. So that is absolutely awesome.
Amazing. And please tell us about you, and then let's get cracking.
I'm Agnes, and I have a 2-year-old son. I've been married for more than 5 years. Been with my partner for 9 years, I believe, but it seems forever, which is an amazing feeling, and it cannot get any better. Believe me.
Amazing. So let's talk about this now. Should we trust each other?
Okay, first of all, should we? What did you say? Talk to each other.
No, trust. You
Okay.
crack on. Yeah.
All right. First of all, I believe we should talk all the time because it really does reassure each other how they feel and just takes off that uneasiness.
Mm-hmm.
And with my situation is my husband and I, we talk all the time about trust.
Okay.
And there's been days and even every day actually, we both say to each other, we trust each other more than we trust ourselves. So I think, yes, you should trust somebody wholeheartedly. Absolutely. Because if there's no trust, there's no meaning of relationship. So bottom line is trust. It's not only what you do when your partner is present, but it's what you do behind their back when they're not looking. I strongly feel about that as well. And the basis for trust is a deep respect for the other, definitely a solid friendship, understanding by listening and hearing what's been said. It's a means of act of regard, patience, and just being there for each other emotionally, to be honest with you. And nurturing that respect. Trust is a work of love and commitment. And sorry, I had to make myself note so I don't forget, because this is what I feel.
No, it's coming out very well. And I've got a question waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to finish, but go ahead.
Okay, this is what I feel. And for me, trust is the key component to any beginning of any relationship. So I'll continue. So the trust is a work of love and commitment, and it is the aspiration of partnership. And it is an act of faith and a mutual desire, to be honest with you. And trust is a precious gift that we tend to sometimes easily can be teared down. So it is a gift that some of us have, and we have to nurture and just flower it as much as we can.
So how have you been able to build that trust in your relationship? I mean, from your...
I think when you meet my husband, prior to my previous relationship, is the only man that I have ever trusted wholeheartedly. And I think you have that sense in you, to the core of you. You just do. I definitely feel you do. Yeah, so it's really
so
what you
give.
Feel
it. You mean you kind of feel it? You just like a feeling that you just feel from the beginning,
From the beginning, I just felt yes, absolutely, I do. Yes, for only this particular man. Only my husband is the only one.
Question number two. Does he feel precisely exactly the way you trust him? Does he trust you exactly the same way?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And every word that I've said to you, we both think and say things alike. I mean, we do think very alike. How we feel about trust, marriage, love, and the commitment behind it. We are very fortunate, I must say. Very fortunate. Yes. I mean, we both agreed that if you want to be trusted, you have to be trustworthy. And if you want to be that person, you have to trust themselves to be trustworthy.
Correct.
So you have to be it in order to give it to your partner, to be honest with you. So you sometimes you have to earn that trust. You do. I mean, it does take time. But eventually, if you open the door, the other person will open it for you. Because if you block the door, there's no passageway for you. So I truly believe you have to open the door for both of you to mutually feel open to each other.
Okay. So in terms of... Yeah, go ahead.
But breaking that trust with a deliberate intent to harm or hurt by lying, deception, cheating... It's completely unacceptable to anyone, or even a friendship, let alone marriage. That's my honest opinion. So if that's there's the door. Exit. That's what I believe in.
We've got a topic. I think I should make it next week. We've got a topic in this series. I need to add it to this series. This cheating thing has come up twice now. 3 times about cheating. So we'll talk about that on another episode. When should a partner tell the other one to listen? I just cheated. Should they say it? Should they not say it? Should they be quiet? I think we'll talk about that later. But let's go back to, why do you think, I mean, Claire talked about acceptability, the fear of being rejected.
Being rejected? Oh, gosh.
No. What she meant was, if the reason why people kind of lie, they lie because they're afraid of being rejected. They're afraid that if they tell the truth, they will be rejected. And so that's... Do you want to say something?
I think it's not. I think it's also a bit of a fear. There's a little fear in that to be able to be accepted. So, I mean, with any trust, we all have expectations and rules on how to maintain a trust. And if it's not there from the beginning, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it can grow and may not, but it's very unpredictable how it can grow forward. So with my situation, pardon?
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So with my situation, with my husband, I mean, there is a trust, but I think as you get deeper into the relationship, the trust gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So I think with a gradual time, it does have an effect. So, I mean, again, it depends how open you want to be with one another, going back to our previous conversation, yes.
Okay, is it risky though? Would you say... I know you're describing, sorry to say this, I know your husband's also watching. You're describing your relationship right now as a perfect trusting relationship. Don't
jinx it, please. Don't jinx it.
I'm sure everyone watching is feeling the same way, but I'll just say, for those of us who are on the other side of the fence, is it risky, would you say, not to have trust?
Do you know what? Everything is a risk. Of course it's a risk. I mean, you walk out the door is a risk.
Correct.
If you don't take the risk, you won't know. So we both had past experience. We've both had situations. So we both put everything on the table. It's a risk that we both are prepared to take. Because if you're not prepared to take that risk, then you're not ready to take that leap with anyone, not just yourself.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Oh, that's amazing, man. You are just so full of information. We've still got 2 minutes left. If there's some more information you want to share with our audience, that would be great.
Of course. Trust and respect in one another. If you don't have those 2 components, what is the value you have of yourself and one another? That's the key ingredient, I think, that should be always recognized. And apart from other components, but the trust and respect are the key components. I believe you can move forward to a healthy relationship towards the future.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Agnes. It's always an educative pleasure to speak with you.
Pleasure.
I think I'm going to have to squeeze your husband's arm one day to get both of you online and talk to you two at the same time on one of these occasions.
That would be wonderful, but he's in Boston, stuck over there at the moment. But absolutely. But yes, he can be on live.
Yeah, we can connect.
I mean, my husband and I, actually, we have these discussions all the time. And like I said before, relationships it's about an open book. It's a mutual desires. So you both have to have the same desires. So for me, I want to treat my husband the way I want to be treated, and he treats me the way he wants to be treated. So it's really a mutual desires in no matter what you do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
Take care. And you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Oh, that was lovely, lovely, lovely. See, so it is possible to trust one another. The whole world is not just falling apart and everyone's just living in this distrust and can't love each other kind of world, you know. But I understand. I understand from Tania's point of view and from Claire's point of view and from Jojo's point of view and also from Agnes' point of view. There are different areas, and I can see that those who've been burnt before, they've learned and they've used their experience in their current relationships. That seems to be what's coming across. So it's possible to love and to trust one another, but you just have to understand your relationship and understand how you work through those processes. All right, we're going to call our next amazing guest all the way. So we've spoken to London, we've spoken to Scotland. Now we're going all the way to Nigeria to speak to our amazing DGV Styles, who runs is a fashion designer and a CEO and a business entrepreneur. So and a family lady. Hi, how are you? You're live on air. How are you?
Oh, hi, I'm great. And you? I've been listening. It's been interesting so far. It's been really, really interesting. Such a sensitive issue today.
Yes. So I don't need to ask any question now. You just crack on. You start off and I'll catch up.
You should. Please ask questions today.
Okay, please tell us about you first of all, and then we can crack on.
Okay, my name is Aderonke Olubanjo. We're the CEO of DGV Styles and the principal instructor of Ibadan City Fashion College, based in Nigeria. I'm married. I've been married for 15 years. We've been together for 17 years.
Amazing, fantastic. Okay, the question is, should couples trust each other?
Yeah, when I saw the topic, like Jojo said, that's a big one. I think trust is relative. Okay, let me say this. The first time I saw the question, the first thing I asked myself was, should my partner trust me too? Because sometimes, we're quick to say, should I trust him? Should he trust me too? Like, if am I doing something I should hide? If I'm suspecting him, do I want him to suspect me too? You know, so many times we women especially, we try to bring all cases, we try to bring it to our side alone.
Yeah.
We don't look at the other side, the way the other person is feeling. If I'm trying to check on him, like, is he doing this? Is he doing that? Is he doing the same thing? And if he's doing the same thing, will I be happy? So trust is such a big word. And the moment you're getting married, remember one thing, you're signing an agreement and you're choosing to live with this person. So whether you like it or not, when you close your eyes and you're sleeping, you don't know what the person is doing. You don't know the person wants to do something. But my husband cooks for me. So if I don't trust him, should I eat his food? Am I supposed to put something in it? So really, I think we should just learn to let go. It's a big word. It gives us this peace of mind. It gives me, like, for me personally, it gives me peace of mind. Okay, let me tell you this. My husband and I have been working together for, let me say, almost about 10 years now. We've been working together in the same company. We're running the business together.
Yeah.
So I've been having lots of questions from people. Why are you leaving your husband with women, with girls? Don't you think they would do something? I said, wait a minute. I saw for men and he lived with them. So should he have? Do you want me to give me a reason to be checking on me and asking me, what did that person say? What did that man tell you?
Yes.
No, we just close our eyes. I believe he won't do what I shouldn't know. And he believes I won't do what he shouldn't know. What I think about, okay, if I do this and he hears about it, what will happen to me? Apart from my partner, what about the kids? What impression will they have about their mom when they hear something? So when I'm talking, I don't want to be one-sided now, because I think everybody we've all been talking about our partner, but let me just balance it.
Okay, please.
So, you know, that's the part where I come to think about it, like, okay, like, let me say here, I've had reasons to, you know, being a teacher and instructor. I have my students sometimes, they come into the class, they're looking somehow, then I know something is wrong. So when you call them, they are telling me, you know, my husband did this and this, that. And I ask the person, are you suspecting? If you're suspecting, you're giving, sometimes they will say, I checked his phone. Why would you check his phone? It's his phone. Don't check anything. If you're looking for something, you will find it.
Yeah, but why would he hide? Why would he hide his phone in the first place?
No, sometimes I don't hide my phone. My husband doesn't hide his phone, and that gives us an amount of at the level of trust. Like, okay,
correct.
Sometimes when you hide too much, you're giving the person reasons to check.
Correct.
Like, are you hiding something? Are you putting something away from me? So when I asked them, I said, okay, if he checks his phone and all you see is good night there, do you know if that person is just an ordinary person? Because now people use the word dare like a normal thing. There's no big deal. But some women, you'll be surprised the way an African woman attaches a lot of things to the
not
word
just African
dare.
women. I think it's a general thing.
It's general.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm cool. Now
but
that's right.
men
So
and women.
Men, they'll say use there for use the emoji love. I said it's just an emoji, it doesn't mean anything. So by the time you now start putting A and B and C together, you are creating a scene you are not seeing in your head. And before you know what's happening, you're having emotional issues, and that is why a lot of people have depression that is uncalled for. Because we are bothering our hearts about a lot of things that's not even happening. Some people have these stories, these images in their head, like he's doing this, and whereas the person is not even doing it. I'm not saying everybody is clean. No, we're all human.
Correct.
Like I like what the last caller said. I think it's Jojo. I'm not sure, or the other person talked about a perfect world. That's Jojo in a perfect world.
Yeah.
In a perfect world. We're not in a perfect world. So we should leave room for the person may do something you don't like, the person may do something you don't really get down with, but let's just close our eyes and live. Live and let life go. Life is one life. Why should you kill yourself?
So if I come in, I mean, what you're also saying is trust can be built if we just let go and just take the risk.
Honestly, 100%. If you let go, trust can be built. And like let me use this thing. My husband and I, we have this issue. He doesn't know how to. When it comes to money, he'll say, no, I don't want to carry money. You carry the cash because it may get lost. I may give someone I shouldn't give. So if your partner, your partner has a weakness in a particular area, know how to balance it off. When it has to do with the money, he'll say, okay, you decide, how do we do this? And for some instances, he will say, no, I'll let him decide because I know I may attach emotions. But if you have a partner who doesn't know how to control, maybe the person just spends anyhow, you should know, okay, in this area, if there is a bulk in the family, I shouldn't trust this person too much with this. Let me put my input so that we control it. Because if anything happens, we all bear the blame. We all get burnt. We all get burnt. So that's sad. I think, like you said earlier, we should close your eyes. Don't give yourself unnecessary hypertension. Life goes on. Life is. If your partner does anything wrong, and let me say, even if the worst happens, you have your life to live, and you must live it good. Chase your own dreams. As much as we are married, we should remember that we are a couple, but we still have an individual life and individual achievements to achieve.
But how does that work, though? I mean, that sounds like a contradictory statement. If you're married and then you have individual lives, I mean, how does that work? That's like two separate things.
Yeah, two separate things. Like let me put it like if I trust you totally, at the end of the day, I discover we've had these issues where you trust someone totally and you hear the person did something really, really bad, unexpected.
Correct.
At that point, just decide I will live my life and I will be fine. Because this is what causes a lot of the things I've seen here, mental cases here. Because you're expecting the person will never ever do something, and they do it, and that's how the woman will just lose it. Women especially.
We're talking about cheating here, right?
Cheating, yeah. That's what happens. They'll believe. Let me say, the person looks too holy to cheat on you.
Yeah.
So when you discover, then they go gaga, they become mental. Things happen. They get into the hospital. They lose their self-esteem. They lose who they are.
It hurts.
So my own is. Yes, it does. It does. But I think I've come to a conclusion about the point where I think, okay, whatever happens, let me tell myself one thing. Even if something happens I'm not expecting, life goes on. Life goes on. So be ready, but do everything you can to make things work. And when things don't go on, life goes on.
I love that. I love that closing remark. I mean, that was amazing. But before we go, we still got time.
Okay.
Now, how can you build that trust? For those who are watching, is there a few tips you can give so they can learn from? Okay, like be open. Okay. If you have a if you're having a relationship, you don't want your partner to know about then something is going wrong. Be very, very open. If I have friends that are opposite sex, my husband knows every one of them. His friends, I know every one of them. If someone is acting funny, I happen to tell him, I think this person is, and sometimes he'll be the one to tell me this person is crossing borders. You should watch out. Because sometimes we don't know. The other person just sees the sign. But for the men, I'll ask our men to sometimes listen to the women. Sometimes our instincts are super sharp.
we smell like CIAs. So when I will tell you, you say, no, you're just saying that because you think. No, sometimes we don't just think. You have, I've seen so many friends, men, my husband, they have clean hearts. But the person they're dealing with is not as clean as they're thinking.
Correct.
So let your partner, when they talk, don't just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Weigh it. Take the ones you need, drop the ones you don't need generally. And I think that will help us. Because relationships, we all can survive alone. We all need relationships, honestly.
Thank you so much, Aderonke. Always busting my head.
Thank you so much. It's amazing talking to you again.
I'll speak to you next week. Have a great week and say hello to your husband for me.
Bye. He'll be surely listening too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, what an amazing show. It's just getting hotter and intensive. And now to round it all up, we're going to call Mr. Chris to give us his own take on this fantastic subject. It's been such an exciting day today, and I know that we have all learned a lot, and I hope that we all take wisdom and take one or two things from the conversation, and I hope that it touches you and impacts your relationship and impacts your home, because that's the whole essence of what we're doing, to bring all this gist together, you know. We spoke with Tania, and Tania talked about having the right understanding. We spoke with Claire, and Claire... Hello, Mr. Chris. You are live on air. It's Ronnie here. How are you?
We are very well. Nice to be back on air again.
Yes. Always a pleasure to have you. And please tell us about you before we go into the topic. Mm-hmm.
All right. Just as we mentioned last week, with many things that I do, I pastor a church. I'm an author, also an entrepreneur. I'm married with beautiful children. And that's just the summary for now.
Yes, that's fantastic, sir. So what we're talking about today is trust. The question really, we've been discussing a lot of things with all the guests, and it also all comes down, what is trust, and should partners trust one another?
All right. We established some foundations last week that when two people are in a relationship, what actually makes for trust is the foundation that they establish, which is love. Now, I believe sincerely that when love is in place within two people in a relationship, it is from that place that you begin to build trust. Because if I love you and you love me, then it forms the progression of that union. And then along the way, we begin to obviously open up to each other. Then circumstances that we meet along the way within the relationship will begin to point to the fact that there is trust being built and trust within that relationship. So I believe sincerely that when love is in place, we begin to trust each other. We begin to open up to each other. And then whichever way and whichever place that relationship is, it grows from there. So I believe that the foundation of trust really is two people loving each other and being able to, they've joined in that love, they've joined in that, in that relationship. And with the different things they get exposed to, and each person picks up along the way that, this person was there for me, I can trust this person. This person did this for me, I can trust that person. So along the way, you get to understand, even with what we give one to another, how we are there for each other, how we respond to each other. That is how trust goes.
I got a bit of a question though, because you are basing the whole foundation of a relationship on love. And yes. I believe you're referring to true agape love, true love, not all this fake 419 love. You understand? So my question is, if people start dating, some people they're not very honest with themselves when they start dating. They try to impress one another. Some may lie, some may tell the truth.
Yes.
But when the relationships get serious, to now say, "Oh, I lied to you at the beginning," becomes a problem. So
very true.
Based on what Claire has just said, what then happens is we now start building on that little small lie that we said at the beginning of the relationship, and it gets bigger and bigger. And yes, we truly love each other, but the foundation has not been built on honesty and clarity. So where do we go from there?
My take when, picking up from what you have asked, my take is, even in the midst of relationship, having been in it for all these years and having spoken to uncountable people, I say to people now, when you speak to people, when you encourage people or you counsel people in relationships, I say to them that we need to be quite observant. You need to keep your eyes open. Really, if you're in a relationship with someone.
Your line is breaking, sorry, but go ahead.
Yes. I said if you're in a relationship with someone, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. You need to keep your eyes open. You need to keep your ears alert. Because when someone does something over and over again, all right, you need to be conscious and be careful. Just like the point that you raised earlier on, that if there is a faulty foundation and lies have been told, and people just get on with it and you just build on that, the truth of the matter is that is not going to end anyway. It is just a recipe for crash. So if you observe something and that thing does not change, and it is faulty, lies have been told, it's a sensitive one, really, because the truth of the matter is that these are things that makes relationship get severed later on, because there's stuff that we did not deal with. There's stuff that we did not handle. I was speaking to someone the other day, and the person was, I was speaking to these two people, and that, they had issues that, they were, quite abusive to each other. And I said to them, I said, listen, you need to define this relationship. You need to define where you are. You've been in this thing for 3 years, and each person is complaining that, you are still doing the same thing. You are not changing. It's the same thing that I've seen. And the person is saying, I'm willing to, give it a go again. And the other person is saying that, no, we've gone over this over and over and over and over again. And I sat down there listening. And I said, this is really the core. That when things are happening over and over and over again, and there's this thing that you know very well, my brother, that if you don't nip something in the bud, and if you don't change something, and if you tolerate it, the time comes that you will not be able to change it.
Correct.
Because you've tolerated it all along. So when you now seem as if, I'm being pushed to the wall now and all that, and it's because you've tolerated it all along, and you get to a place that you can't change it. So it's when we talk about relationship in the different contexts in which we have spoken so far, it can be quite complex. It can be quite complicated sometimes, really, because it takes for the two individuals to really be ready to pay the price to make it work. We make mistakes. We make mistakes with error. I didn't say this to you because I didn't know how you were going to take it and all that, and I keep it within myself. The question is, are you going to be able to manage that? Are you going to be able to sustain it? And all the surrounding factors as well. So relationship really, it can be quite complex, So my answer to your question is, it's just, and also each relationship and each scenario is also very different. And we need to be conscious of that. Our stories are different. Our foundations are different. How we met each other are different. What we spoke to each other, what we both consented to. So for each individual, really, it can be different. So when we say in relationship, we can put a blueprint together and say, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what you need to, how you need to walk it. There's some places where there's some foundational stuff that, all right, this is how we should do it. And in the context of people's beliefs and all that, all right? But each relationship is quite unique. Unique in several ways. Upbringing, exposure, how they have, each the two people involved have journeyed together. So it can be quite different. Every situation and every relationship can be quite unique. Okay. So when I say to you that, oh, Ronnie, this is how it has worked for me and my partner, me and my spouse, it may be completely different to how you have walked your own journey. Where you are coming from, where you have been, what you're exposed to, what you believe, what is your own conviction. All these things also play a major role in relationships and trust and all that we are trying to, to talk about.
Yeah, I good points. Thank you so much. And I've also wanted to ask as well, even if everyone's from different backgrounds and different communities and different religions and ethnics and in different parts of the world, there must be a common recurring decimal that can apply to relationship to help them build trust. That's one. And question number 2 is, if I see something in my relationship that I think, oh, this is a bit strange, should I just say straight away or should I continue to observe?
Very good question. The first one, that is a common decimal or that can help in relationship in building trust. I believe, like I've said, I keep on saying that love is important. Then number 2, openness and communication. In the place where there is no communication, that is a recipe for disaster. Because if you are not talking, then something is talking. If you are not saying something, then either you're saying it to someone else or someone else is saying something to you. There's no person that is a complete introvert.
I like that.
If there's something you are not saying, there's a place, there's an outlet somewhere. So in terms of the common decimal, I would say that really and truly, it's all about love. It's all about how we take each other. The value I place on you, the value you place on me. And then I've always said this, Ronnie, that every relationship that you see, that you admire, that you're like, wow, this couple, that couple, the truth of the matter is simple. They are paying a price. Somebody is giving something. Someone is sacrificing something. Someone is really paying a price. The two people in there, they are working at it. They are really, really doing something. They are working at it. Then the next one. And can you repeat the next question?
I think you kind of answered it, but it was more like if you see something that is making you to doubt or making you to doubt your trust in that relationship, should you address the issue immediately or should you continue to investigate?
I feel that you should address it because you would realize, I'm sure in your own observation over the years, people you've come across, what you've seen, I'm sure you will agree with me. Like it's, in the field of IT that I used to work in, there's this principle that I found out that, what this actually relates to everything that I keep saying and I keep doing. And that is the fact that from the onset in software engineering, they put the requirement together that they want to develop this software to do this and to do that. And at the inception stage, when the requirements are written, then they start testing. They start looking at, okay, what needs to be there, what should not be there. And so the summary of it is that the principle is, even at the inception stages, they start testing. They don't wait until the software hits the desk of the end users, because at that point, there's some stuff that should not be visible. Likewise, in relationship, there's some people that you sit down with and you're like, how long have you've known each other? They tell you for all these years. And you're like, for all these years and this has been happening? How come nobody spoke? How come you didn't deal with it? How come you didn't talk about it? Because if you did, it would not have accumulated to where it is now.
Correct.
So there's stuff that you do observe. It's quite difficult to live with it because at the end of the day, you will pay the price for living with that thing. That's just the absolute truth. So I would say that you deal with it, but the ultimate thing also that I've found out about relationships is about wisdom. It's about when you talk, how you go about dealing with what you need you need to address. I feel that is also very important. A lot of people have tried to address an issue or a matter, and they've completely messed it up. So it's always, to me, about how you deal with stuff. Some years ago, we started doing, like a session for people in relationship, and I was asked that what should be the title of the event, and I said to them that it has to be about wisdom. And we did it the first year. The second year, again, they asked me what is going to be the title. I said the same thing, because I realized that for any relationship to work, each individual needs to inject element of wisdom. There are some stuff that you will do that you're doing it at the right. You may want to do it at a particular point, but it could be at the wrong time.
But although I think we'll have this conversation on another subject, getting that wisdom also comes from understanding and knowledge and experience. It doesn't just come just like that, does it?
No. Yes. Very true. I mean, from upbringing, from exposure, and from how the individual was brought up, where the person has been exposed to, what the person has learned.
Correct.
All these things add up to how an individual, operate or speak or conduct themselves with wisdom.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I was just concluding that, it depends on the individual, what the individual has been exposed to, what the individual has picked up over the years. All these things people bring into relationship. And that's the absolute truth. You don't give what you don't have. It's what you have that you give. And that is what each person in a relationship brings into that relationship. And sometimes that is what makes relationship to be complex. Because there are two different individuals, two different upbringings, two different exposures, and they bring all that into their relationship. Now, coming together, this is how we want to do it. This is not what I believe, this is not what I'm used to. So these are the things that comes into relationship that makes it sometimes. If the two people are not ready to work at it, this is where it becomes complex.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. You're always an addition to our lives, and all our viewers and around the world say a big thank you to you and all the other guests, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you
thank
too,
you.
Sir.
And thank you for the great work you're doing. Thank
you. God bless. Have a great weekend.
You too, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. We've got all our fantastic guests on the show today, and they've just been mind-blowing. I've learned so much, and I've been educated, I've been fed, and I hope you feel the same. Today we talked about trust. We talked about trusting one another. If you listen to the way our guests analyze the whole subject, we started by talking, what is trust? Why should couples trust each other? Should the relationship be based on trust? And by starting off, we spoke to Tania, and Tania talked about it has to be about your relationship. It has to be how you know your partner, and it has to be a two-way thing. We went from there, we spoke to Claire, and I loved what Claire said. And Claire was able to tell us that, listen, this is all about fear, that some partners are afraid that they lie. And she asked the question, why would someone lie? Why would you lie in a relationship? What is the foundation of that lie? And she drilled it down that the foundation of lying is because we feel rejected when we lie. It's because we feel rejected when we lie, we can't really be honest and be free in relationships. So we have to get over that. And we spoke to Agnes, and Agnes built her comment and her conversations around love, around understanding, around communicating with one another. That is the communication and the growing and the openness. I think that's the word. The openness that she has in her relationship is what she believes can help to build that trust. And then we spoke to Aderonke, And she talked about don't overstress yourself, take the risk. She talked about taking that risk in your relationship, taking that risk. It's a risk that you're going to take. It's hard to say, oh, I trust this person 100%, but just take that risk so you can relieve yourself of that stress and go through it. It's painful when you get hurt. It hurts like a knife. And then we ended up with Chris, and Chris talked about love. The foundation of all this that we're talking about is love. How much do you love one another? How much love are you willing to sacrifice for? How much love are you willing to give way and let your partner have the way? Are you always going to be the one who's correct? Are you always going to be the one who has to make the decisions? Are you always going to be the one who is in authority all the time? It's about love. Love is about giving. Love is about saying sorry when you are not wrong. The foundation of a trusting relationship is your ability to say, listen, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to give it 100%, and I'm going to love. I'm going to take that risk and be observant and be able to be open to your partner and say, listen, I'm beginning to notice some things about you that are not right. What's going on? To be able to have those conversations. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. It's been an amazing time talking with you all. It's been a fantastic family and relationship series. I hope you join us in the next one. For all our viewers around the world, I say thank you. And please remember one thing, stay motivated, stay educated, continue to increase your wisdom, increase your learning. It is what you know, what you have learned that you can apply that will help you to increase and motivate you more to achieve your vision. And as I always say, never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve your dream. Never let anyone tell you you're not good enough to be the best that you can be. They don't have that right. That right belongs to you and you only. You can achieve whatever you set your mind to achieve. Keep growing. Keep driving that vision. I love you so much and have a great and lovely day. God bless you. Thank you.